Hello there, Star Wars fans. Welcome back to the latest installment of Casual Council here on Flying Casual. I've got our council established this month. Here with us this month is Brent, Rob, Scotty, Jory, and Nettie. Guys, talking about obviously Star Wars. Who knows? Maybe some Lord of the Rings is gonna maybe some WandaVision. I don't know. This conversation may go everywhere. Well, I probably should have started recording 30 minutes ago because a lot of good thoughts coming out in the discussion. But we'll stick with Star Wars. It's a Star Wars podcast, so we'll stick with Star Wars. But these guys, some classic Star Wars fans here in our group, always speculating on what ifs. I always love a good what if, and we were just having a what if for like 30 minutes and realized we probably should have been recording that. So we're going to talk about it here, but before we get to these what ifs, we do have some recent Star Wars announcements. We've talked about it on the podcast, but one announcement that we don't talk enough about is Star Wars games. Now, if you know Mike, Mike's a decent gamer. I hopped into Battlefront with Rob the other night. We were owning people as Darth Vader and Kylo Ren. I was choking a lot of people out. So, yeah, if you come across us, you're probably going to die in Heroes versus Villains. But decent game. Don't game enough. Don't talk about gaming enough. But we did learn that Lucasfilm has done a little rebranding behind the scenes. Seems like, that they're realizing, hey, maybe giving EA exclusive rights to our property for 20 years maybe wasn't the best idea. So let's get back to the old days and have some Empire War. Let's bring back Empire War. No, that wasn't announced, but I'm totally here for it. It's one of my favorite games of all time. But we don't talk about games enough, so I figured let's talk about it. Like what Star Wars games do we want to see? We obviously we've been playing some Battlefront. We've been playing some Squadrons, as terrible as we are. I think everyone here can agree that we're all terrible at Squadrons. Who is good at Squadrons? I've never met someone that is, other than those that kill me. Silence. See, I said, guys, no one here is good at Squadrons.
It just takes too long. Like the minute you start playing, you're like, oh, I finally got a handle of it.
Yeah.
And it's about 40 minutes later, and then you get in the next battle, and it lasts like 40 minutes, and you're like, I'm done.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can't get close to those Star Destroyers. They just, shoot me immediately. I don't know how I'm supposed to destroy them if I can't get close to them. But
people are camping. They fly behind your spawn point.
I think they're just going to a high elevation and just coming down at me. I think that's what's happening. So I'm not a good dog fighter. So it's not really my strong suit. Battlefront, I'm on the ground. I'm a lot better. But Empire War was my jam, guys, back in the day. I mean, I would sit there with my buddies and have 10-hour battles of Empire War and that strategy. I'm a sucker for strategy. Things like Age of Empires. Oh my God, I was a huge Age of Empires fan. Command and Conquer Generals. I freaking loved that franchise. So I want to know from you guys, other than Empire War, I mean, there's some rumors of another Battlefront 3. Cool, that's awesome. But there's rumors of a big kind of open world being discussed. So Rob, I want to go to you first. You're our big in-house gamer here. What are you excited about the most? And nothing really official coming out, but what are you excited about the possibility the most of Lucasfilm Games kind of just saying, hey, let's send out our property to some other creators and let's see what they can do?
Look, I mean, this is the best thing. This is what books do. Books just don't have one person doing that, and that's what EA does. A lot of people say that the death of football games was when EA bought the NFL license and killed every other game because it got waxed with NFL 2K5.
Ooh.
So
NFL Blitz, did anyone play? I mean, I was an NFL Blitz guy back in the day, right? Like,
I mean, that was a good game too, but then all they had to stop because it had to be about Madden. And then in a small little jab at EA too. They made that game on the phone, and then they implemented that card system into the game. Now you got the Madden Ultimate Team. People go buy the things, and they beat everybody up, and they win the championships. And it just isn't cool. It's like a phone game. That's not Madden. Madden ain't a phone game. Bring me back to 79 Rams. I want Eric Dickerson in 84. But back to Star Wars. Back to Star Wars. This, you're giving creativity to other people. And the first people that stepped up is going to make an open world. And this is what we were talking about 2 years ago, being able to maybe climb up the Jedi building and look across Coruscant, or maybe visit Tatooine and be able to climb around the buildings and do stuff. But as a Star Wars game, it's not so much like a stealth game.
Yeah.
So I think that we can probably count maybe some of that out. But to open world and do that, I'm still going to go back. I got open world and I played it 18 hours 3 weeks ago in Star Wars Galaxies. It's on it. There's just you could just run around. It's not even open world. It's open space. I tell you all the time. You could launch a machine and you could fly into air and you can fly to the next planet, or you could hyper jump to the next planet. And if you choose to fly, you might have to watch out for some pirates. Like that's open space, open universe, open everything. It's been done before. They only keep it from us because EA got that stupid thing. And of course, we all know what's still going on is Knights of the Old Republic, or KOTOR. That's still all going on. Like that just had an update like 4 months ago.
See, I never got into Knights of. I've never even played Knights. Am I missing out on Knights of the Old Republic? Is that an open world enough? It's okay.
It's okay, but it's so, you know what I'm saying? Like you're so far behind that by the time you get caught up, you could be playing new Star Wars games like Fallen Order 2.
Here's what scares me about an open world game. If it's something like Destiny, I freaking love Destiny. I know Brent's a big Destiny guy. Part of my problem is I find really beautiful places to go and sit and take some screenshots of beautiful background. If I'm on Coruscant and I'm able to climb up those Jedi temples, that's what I'm doing. I'm probably not fighting crime. I'm just taking beautiful landscape shots, selfies of me, out there just checking out the planet. So I'm down for a Destiny-like game. I think that would be, it's perfect for Star Wars. Why you have this galaxy? Let's make it happen. Oh, we're getting a call. I don't know.
Hot right here.
I don't know who Erdy1 is, but we're going to go ahead and reject that call. But Scotty, you're a gamer as well. Are you looking forward to anything particular? I mean, an Empire War, maybe? Am I the only one here that likes that strategy?
Don't know what that game is.
I know what that game is, just for the record. I know what that game is. It's amazing.
That's okay. We'll let that one go. What are you looking forward to?
Man, I was going to say, like, the new game is coming from Ubisoft, but the studio is massive. I'm going to just list a couple of games that they've made in the past. Assassin's Creed Revelations, Far Cry 3, which in my opinion is probably the best one of that whole thing, story-wise. This company also did both of the Division games, and last but not least, South Park and the Fractured Butthole. If you have not played the South Park games, like, no joke, the stories are, like, blow your mind as a fan of that universe. It's an RPG game. It's amazing. Oh, and that's whole WHOLE.
Oh, I believe it. That might be something for Jar Jar to kind of, be the front and the face of a game like that.
I'm hyped for that game. I hope the open world is, like, I don't know. I want a MMO. I want a, like, World of Warcraft style game, but Star Wars. Like, and, and this might be a stretch, but, like, my big dream. Have you seen demos? And if you haven't seen demos for Beyond Good and Evil 2, there's a ridiculous YouTube video with the developers. Nettie, he's maybe seen this, but it's just them inside the engine showing the scale. And it's like a massive ship. His little ship gets out of it. Then he gets out of it. He's got a little jetpack. And you can literally, like, enter and exit atmospheres. And he was showing how, like, the ship's propulsion changes when they leave the atmosphere. You can go into, like, super light speed type stuff. But, like, give me that in a Star Wars. I don't care. I'll buy a computer. It doesn't have to be a console game.
Yeah, if my Dell G5 here can play it, fire it up. We'll see. I'm waiting for that new Empire Age of Empires though release that apparently is coming sometime in the future. We're still waiting for that. But Nettie, you also are a huge gamer here with us and playing something new every week it seems. What are you most excited about? If you have any idea of what you are wanting from Star Wars.
I just gotta throw something out. I'm pretty sure Empire at War is on Steam, and I think there are fan servers, Michael. So If I ever learn how to actually play it, I'd be down.
Oh, boys, guys, I now that I have a PC here and not just a Mac, yeah, I actually bought screw Mac, and screw ass for whoever makes the Aspire, whoever makes the freaking games for them. I purchased that game on the App Store and it's now gone. Well, I don't understand why I can't just play the game. Whatever. So yeah, maybe it'll stick around in Steam. Maybe we can all play because that would, I mean, a 4-on-4 match. It sounds like we need to make this happen.
Yeah, let's say I need to learn what I'm doing, but I'm down.
That's all right. You're learning from the best.
Yep, exactly. In terms of the other news that came out, I think it's a great start to see what we can do. Slight side off from Star Wars. I mean, the announcement of an Indiana Jones game from Machine Games, who make the best Nazi killing simulators there are, so that's perfect for Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Say that I'm really excited for. And then, I mean, Lucasfilm had a lot of good IPs, not necessarily things I played, but like Day of the Tentacle, Maniac Mansion. They had a lot of good IPs, and I'm really excited to see if they might bring some of those back.
Maniac Mansion was freaking amazing, dude. You were the first person to have said that to me ever.
Sounds like the Looney Bin. I Maniac Mansion. I don't know what that is.
I'm Googling.
I think you can microwave a pet in it, so that explains something. I've never played it myself, but
it's cool. It's fun. Let it kill it, man. Kill it, man. Tell them what it's about.
I'm interested to see if any of those would get any revives too. But on the terms of actual Star Wars, I mean, the possibilities can be endless. Say, I haven't played too many of Massive's games. And the Division games never really clicked with me. At least nothing like Destiny for me. But they're still solid built games, and Ubisoft knows how to build an open world. Sometimes they can be a little by the numbers, but they have pioneered that genre very well. So I think it's in good hands, and I'm really excited to see what they can do with it. And if you want me to speculate on other projects I want, I could be here all night.
I mean, we need to dedicate more time to it, and they've obviously piqued all of our interest just by rebranding the gaming head there at Lucasfilm. So it worked. I think they gave a few second little teaser, just pretty much saying we're rebranding and we're partnering up with some companies, and it was enough to get everyone excited. Just to, and that doesn't mean they're going away from EA. They're still going to be partnering with them, because I've found a lot of joy in Battlefront and the campaign that they had there. I thought that was a solid story. I thought Fallen Order was a really great story. Probably one of the best Star Wars stories in my opinion. But I didn't know this until this conversation started. But guys, we have the number 5 player in the world of Call of Duty, Jory Webb here. Jory, I didn't know this information until now. This is breaking news to me, but I mean, I didn't. What does the number 5 player in the world of Call of Duty expect from Star Wars in the future?
Well, you know, I mean, obviously I want a shooter. Honestly, I am not that good at Call of Duty there, bud. But as far as you know, with them doing an open world, I don't really know how that would work, especially if you decide that you're gonna play as a Jedi. With an open world, it kind of seems to kind of be like Assassin's Creed or GTA feel, and you know that little Jimmies and little Timmies are gonna be on there, just destroying the regular people in the world. And then as a Jedi, what does that do? I mean, does that just bring down the entire order? Do they outcast you? Do they send Yoda to come destroy you, send Anakin after you? I mean, I don't know. I don't know how this all works. But I mean, I think that it'd be really cool. Not really sure what kind of storyline that they would bring up. Would it be a new storyline? Would it kind of rehash some of the old? And like, I think it'd be kind of cool if it was open world plus, they. So one of my favorite games was The Phantom Menace, and it was like for PlayStation 1 or no, I think it was PlayStation 2. And I had a lot of fun playing that game. I just thought it was pretty cool to take Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and, you know, do a bunch of lightsaber fighting and, you know, killing a bunch of droids, things like that. So, I mean, I think it'd be pretty cool to do something like that. But, you know, have we already gotten, you know, those type of games? So I don't know, unless they bring a brand new story into it, you know, how they would do it. But I think it would be kind of cool to maybe even play back through the sequel trilogy, you know, and things like that. But honestly, as far as the gaming speculation, I haven't really thought about it a ton, and leave that to the better minds on the gaming.
I'm surprised how much I've enjoyed in the past those episodic games. Like the one that strikes me the most is probably the most recent, which I assume was Revenge of the Sith, and just like Anakin showing up to Palpatine's office, it's just like, are you gonna like choose this side or that? And it's intriguing because that is Star Wars. It's the discussions that we all have daily in the Facebook group. Like, what if? Like, we're gonna have one here in a bit. So I really enjoy those, and it seems like they've kind of gone away from that. But yeah, would it be interesting to throw in some little nuggets for the sequel trilogy? Like, it sounds like I think this pissed some people off, but the Lego game that's going to come out where you can play pretty much any character, they're going to try to flesh out like Finn a little more and whatever that means. That's kind of upset some people, so maybe they're not going to go too much into it. But I think I don't know. It's just like the novels. Like, I've enjoyed the Rise of Skywalker novelization so much because it's filled in so much. And what if we could see those scenes play out in a cutscene in a game? I think that's amazing. Like, if people are going to buy it, let's do it. So I've been surprised by how much I've kind of enjoyed those episodic ones. And I'm not even that big of a gamer, but I tend to like the story-driven feature and watching those cutscenes, like a lot of people have with Old Republic and stuff. Yeah, Rob.
Yeah, to throw that in real quick, when Jory was talking about episode 1, I did like that game, but I didn't like how constrictive it is. So for me, the episode 1 story that I like to follow was Jedi Power Battles. If you ever played that, and it was for the Dreamcast, which gave you an extra character, and if you played it for the PlayStation, it ran the entire story of episode 1, but it was 2 players at the same time. And all the Jedi were different. So you had Plo Koon, Obi, you had Qui, and everybody had their own different combinations. And then with each level, you could earn so many points, and you could upgrade your health or your force, or you could choose this combo or that combo. Yeah. So it allowed you so many different ways that you could do it. But the one problem with the game was it was really slippy. So playing it two people couldn't occupy the space at the same time. So if you had a lot of stupid little jumps to make that somebody always fell off on, you had to do them in succession. It was really hard, but the game itself and the way, like, by the end of the game, you could almost tell the Force when something was going to shoot, because you would hit that L button, it would fly back at it and it would hit it. And that's how you had to actually beat the first boss too, because they wanted you to learn that skill that you had to deflect bolts back. I'm telling you. It's a hard, slippy game, but that game is really, really cool and really fun if none of you have ever played it.
That's awesome. Yeah, Scotty.
I was going to say, Lego can do no wrong, man. They can do no. They could do an MMO and let me create my own character with like class level ups, skills, gear, and I would play it for the next 20 years.
Yeah. No, I agree. They're so much fun, and I don't know how people were giving the holiday special, the Lego one, like a lot of flack. It was fun. Like, people were like, oh, of course they'd have Rey go and show Luke how to, destroy the Death Star. It's like, come on.
Kind of.
Do you really take it that seriously, people? Come on. It's a fiction. Like, it's a fiction. This never happened. Luke Skywalker doesn't exist. Like, let it go. So, yeah.
The crazy part is I literally don't think any of that would have happened had they not been so outraged. Like, they're literally just like, okay, listen, let's just do it.
Yeah, you hate Rey so much, we're going to put her throughout all of Star Wars, and we're really going to piss you off.
We're already, like, down here, so we can only go up from
Yeah. I'll tell you this, and Brent, tell me if this is something you're interested in, because you and I like to be on a fire team and go out there and be guardians of the galaxy, and I think that's what they call us in Destiny, a guardian. Yeah, I don't really know if they call it a galaxy or not. It's been a while since I've been on there, and I have a very low light level, so I'm gonna need Nettie and Brent to go and do a couple raids for me so I can play trials again. But Brent, tell me if this is something that interests you, and I want to hear what you expect from Lucasfilm Games here in the future. An open world, so to speak, game, but it's kind of like GTA, and it's only on Coruscant. Coruscant, we were just talking about Coruscant a little bit ago and how unexplored it was in the sequel trilogy, but like, you start off in the lowest layers of Coruscant. Like, you're in the core. Like, you're just in the core of the planet, and you're just scum. You're just, you have to work your way up to the upper levels. Maybe that's crime. Maybe that's something else. But Jory got me thinking, like, what if you go and steal a speeder and the Jedi show up and you're kind of screwed? Like, what happens then? But, I mean, would you be down for a GTA kind of Star Wars game on Coruscant?
I might consider it. I mean, I played maybe 5 minutes of GTA, the original, and none of the other ones because it did, absolutely no appeal to me whatsoever.
Smart.
The first one, maybe it was just because the first one was shit.
Yeah.
And then I just never got into the other ones. And I have no desire to try and get into GTA 5 because it seems like now with the newest update, all it is about racing your car around. And it's like, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I feel like that. I think my dad caught my stepbrother playing the first Grand Theft Auto and came in and just snapped the disc, and that was the last we saw of it. So I agree. Yeah, never played much of it, but I'm thinking something like that could be cool. So no GTA. What do you want?
Honestly, I'm really looking forward to the Lego saga.
Yeah.
I've played all the other ones. So I'm just waiting for it to be all in one sweet package and all bundled together and whatnot. But it's kind of funny you mentioned Destiny or whatever, because there's a lot of similarities between Destiny and the Star Wars universe.
Let's go. Come on.
You can kind of talk about it. I mean, you start right off, you get to the Arc Warlock Super, where he's just running around with Palpatine's little tickle fingers. And then I don't know how much or how many people play Destiny or how far into the lore the people who have gotten, but you get into Shaxx, the Quartermaster for Crucible. He never takes his helmet off, so Mandalorian.
That's right.
Right off the bat.
That's right.
You got the healing powers of the Warlock as well. And then, you get the Ahamkara, which is the wish dragon within the Destiny universe. It's a dragon and it has multiple eyes. And then what kind of animal was it that Rey healed in The Rise of Skywalker? It was a lizard thing with multiple eyes on it.
Yeah.
So boom, there's your Ahamkara. So, there's a lot of similarities to it. So I kind of already have my ideal Star Wars game. They have swords, which is basically a lightsaber. So, there's everything's already there going for me. And, I only have so much time to play because I have kids and a job and, everything else. So, it's really the only thing I get to play. I still haven't finished Fallen Order as much as I really want to. I haven't finished the campaign for Battlefront 2 either. Luckily, the YouTube's out there so I can watch all the story beats and know what's going on. But, one day I'll get to it. So, other than the Lego one, which I can play with my kids, I'm in no major rush for it. I already have my Star Wars game right there.
Brent, you actually just reminded me that I haven't finished the Battlefront 2 campaign. That's embarrassing.
There's a buddy that does that. Just watches all the Battlefront, or he watched all the Battlefront. He watched all the Fallen Order. He didn't care. He was like, whatever, I want my Star Wars content.
That's what we have to do with Luke. Like, that's the only way Luke can find out about this stuff, because I'm like, hey man, maybe you should come over and play some PlayStation. He's like, really? Two kids?
But I haven't finished yet, but I'm totally down for Fallen Order 2 because what I have played, I've totally dug. I've loved it. The story's been awesome. The game control can be a little wonky every once in a while, but
yeah,
I'm sure they'll work it out by the next time around. And Respawn with Titanfall and Titanfall 2. I mean, Titanfall 2 is probably one of the best campaigns for single player in the last decade and a half, I would imagine. That game was just so awesome and epic. And so, I mean, I'm totally down with the Respawn, doing whatever they want to do with Star Wars.
Brent, what are you running?
About gaming, quick, never forget Shadows of the Empire for the 64.
Amen. I thought you were going to say Shadow War, which I just witnessed Holly slaying orcs last night for about 3 hours. So I'm in a bit of a Lord of the Rings mindset right now. The Ring of Power. But that's a great game too. But Brent, what are you running as in Destiny? Are you a Titan, you hunter?
Oh, hell no. Titans are a piece of crap.
That's what I thought too.
No, I'm in a hunter and then secondary and the Warlock.
Let's go. Yeah,
I
I
mean,
need to try
time,
some of that magic.
if there's time available, then I'll throw my Titan on just to get the crap. But
Okay.
no, those guys, it's like that's garbage with training wheels right there. That's all Titans are. They're way overpowered. There's just too much shit.
Yeah,
that's
the hunter special weapon is too much. Multiple hits while you can still snipe somebody, one hit somebody. It's too much, man. It's too much. And with the bow or something in part 2, it's like one hit kill. Once you get good, it's dead. It's death every time.
Guys, there's nothing better than playing trials with your buddies late at night, just owning people, trying to go flawless. Never been flawless in Destiny. That's okay. One day I will, because I feel like Brent and I feel like Nettie are going to take me there. So I'm going to get my light level up. We're going to play some trials because I'm pretty sick with that bow. Every once in a while, I'll tether some people and let you go in and slay them. And give me a scout rifle. Is it a scout rifle? I don't remember what it's called, but give me a scout rifle and I'll go out there and own some people. Well, that was fun. We never talk about games much, guys. If we get off here early enough, we all may just hop on Squadrons and get owned as well, but we'll see how that goes.
What do you got there, Nettie? Something else before we bounce out here?
I just wanted to mention I left out the most important piece of video game news we got over the past couple of weeks. Babu Frick is going to be playable in Lego Star Wars, and that alone makes it worth the price of entry.
What is he just going to run around with a torch? Like, is that what's he? Hey, he's just like burns people's eyes. Like,
think of a TV and see his character. Like, what?
Yeah. Seriously, he's gonna be like the Yoda. You're like, where the hell is Yoda? Oh my God, he's everywhere. Oh God. So yeah, who knows? I can't picture Babu Frick hurting anybody, but who knows? Maybe
a droid. You can jump on the back and just be like. Just like reprogram him, and then like, okay, there you go. He reprograms them and then controls them, and then he becomes the droid. So different droids that are used. There you go.
Maybe just he just like rides them and
nailed it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Can you get him on a gonk droid like a blurg?
Oh my God! Or he just rides a mouse droid around, just blasting people. Now that'd be sick.
Great. Just talking shit the whole time. Oops.
I totally hope that actually happens. That would be so sick. Well, there's a lot to look forward to then with the games, and I can't wait. I mean, God knows, I won't be able to afford most of them. I gotta buy a PS5 before any of this stuff comes out. So if anyone's looking to donate one this way, so far I think the PS4 is running pretty good. Maybe running a little hot. It's been, shut down a couple times on me and deletes all my games. But hey, what are you gonna do? So maybe we'll be gaming a little more. The Discord the other night, I'll tell you, everyone was on fire. A lot of Lord of the Rings references by myself, but that happens. But there's a lot of good chat in there. Good chatting with Aaron. He didn't even know we had Discord, so that was nice of him to join us in there the other night. But a lot of good conversation going on. And every once in a while, maybe we'll join us in Battlefront or something. And own the galaxy like Rob and I were. But I teased kind of some speculation. It's what we do best, I think, sometimes on this podcast, and we haven't done it in a while. And so there's been a couple of discussions that have happened in the group and just here in the past, hour or so with these guys, revolving around the Clone Wars Episode 3 era, and talking about Order 66 and how things could be different. Like, what if something went this way? Like, how would things have ended up? And I want to start with Nettie at first, because this is something that Nettie brought up in the group, I think, the other week. And it's just fascinating that you could just ask one simple question of like, what if, and you can have a 2-hour conversation. And that may be what happens here. But Nettie simply asked, like, what would have happened if Obi-Wan had actually left the Order? Like he promised, Satine that he would, if she would let him. Like, what would have happened then? What would have happened to Anakin? Would he have actually turned? How would things have been so differently? I almost feel bad talking about it, because then it feels like we're blaming Obi-Wan for everything going wrong. I mean, Obi-Wan to me is the Superman of the Star Wars galaxy. He's just got the whole weight of the world on his shoulders. But Nettie, what were you thinking when you posed that? Like, how could things have been different? Let's say, Obi-Wan and Satine are like, let's do this. Let's go. Maybe we're going to go to Naboo. Maybe we're going to find a nice little hut somewhere and just live on the ocean the rest of our lives. Like, how would things have been different?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question. I think I was listening to the podcast about Obi-Wan, the Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan in the Obi-Wan show. And it just popped into my head for some reason. And I think there's a lot of different ways you can look at it. I mean, would Qui-Gon have taken another Padawan, and would he still have ended up on Tatooine to find Anakin?
Yeah.
If that hadn't happened, like if Chancellor Valorum had sent another duo of Jedi onto Naboo with the blockade, would they not have ended up on Tatooine? Would Anakin just have stayed there? I
Yeah.
mean, I think there's endless ways you can look at it. And I mean, if it had just been Qui-Gon and Darth Maul killed him, Obi-Wan's not there to kill Darth Maul the first time, um, does like Anakin just go out for revenge against Maul then? Did the Jedi go after him? I think there's a lot of different angles you can look at it, depending on where you want to play the pieces. Because I forget, do they give us exact context of when Obi-Wan and Satine kind of first met and started talking? I can't remember if they give a time frame of that, but when he would have left relative to all the movies. But
the way they discuss it, though, it's as if it were a long time, like a while ago. It wasn't like they had just met up a couple months, right? Like it's like when he had, was early on in the order. It feels like when maybe those inhibitions were just, just too much. Like it seems like it's been an ongoing thing for a while, and all those feelings are coming back after seeing each other for so long. I think it's fascinating. What if Obi-Wan wasn't there to make the bad joke on the troop transport there on Naboo? There's a great some people that clip this shit on YouTube are just hysterical. It's called Obi-Wan's bad joke, and it literally is them hiding out on the droid troop transport when it's going down to Naboo, and he just says, "You were right, Master. The negotiations were short," and then it just pans back to Qui-Gon, and then back to Obi-Wan. Back to Qui-Gon, and it's just called Obi-Wan's bad joke. It's hysterical. I laughed my ass off. So some really great stuff on the internet. It's highly entertaining. But yeah, like what if was he the only one that could actually if there were a lesser Jedi there as Qui-Gon's Padawan and had taken on the training of Anakin Skywalker, would Anakin have even gotten as far as he did? I don't know. Jory, do you think about these things at night? I mean, is Obi-Wan, he felt like the Jedi we all needed in the moment, but it just wasn't enough. I mean, is it all his fault? But maybe he should have ran off with Satine.
Yeah, man, I don't really know about that. I mean, if Obi-Wan isn't there, I mean, kind of like Nettie was saying, there's just so many different outcomes, that could have happened, and obviously it's butterfly effect. You take away one piece, and it changes history completely. Kind of like something else we're going to talk about in the future, later on in the podcast. With the Order 66, but like, if you take Obi-Wan out of the picture, like you're saying, I don't know that Qui-Gon even ends up where he's supposed to end up. We talk about these things and all the what ifs, and sometimes you kind of just have to go back to the whole, well, it happened because George wrote it that way, because if it didn't happen that way, then we don't have a story. But if Obi-Wan leaves the Order, like you're saying, I don't know that Qui-Gon actually has an apprentice at that point.
Yeah.
And if Qui-Gon doesn't have an apprentice, I mean, I think that he still probably would go and do the same things that he's doing, but maybe with another knight. Just to do it in pairs. In the negotiations, and things like that. But if he doesn't have Obi-Wan there, then do things still play out the same way? And it's hard to say yes or no either way.
Yeah, the Force works in mysterious ways. Scotty, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I think you touched on it. I think we all touched on it last week. You just brought up something that triggered, dark side. I'm like a dark side sympathizer, if you will. But you said a lesser Jedi, and I don't really know what you mean or what you're talking about, because I'm pretty sure we cut off Yoda and Obi-Wan both from owning Padawans, because they all just turned to the dark side. So, the Force is just going to always balance it out. I think, I don't know, it's hard to say, like, where did it start? Like, why was Anakin a Force birth? Why, that line? Why that bloodline, That's what I go. Why did Palpatine just pick them?
Yeah.
What if he picked Han Solo and, like, who knows? His kid could have been whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. I've talked about it months ago. If it were just Qui-Gon, or if Qui-Gon was there to actually train him, would he have been? Would Anakin have turned out any different? I don't know what different Qui-Gon would have offered it. It seems like he would have allowed him to explore even a little more, and maybe that could have been even more trouble for the universe.
Filoni's interview that went deep on that, whereas like he described Obi-Wan as more of the brother that and Qui-Gon would have filled that void as a father, and it could have gone completely 180. He could have then been the chosen one that helped, not join them, etc.
Yeah, it makes me like we talked about it about the Mortis arc when we were talking about Qui-Gon the other week, and Luke brought that up, and Qui-Gon shows up, and he's just like, wow, like Anakin, this might be too much for him. Like he, this might be too much for him and his unstable self kind of right now. And then what would Qui-Gon? What if Qui-Gon was there on Mortis? Like, would he have been just like a little more? I don't know, a little more open to experimentation? That sounds wrong, but I kind of think Qui-Gon is that kind of hippie Jedi, right? Not just because of his long locks.
He definitely psychedelics. For sure.
Yeah, right. Feel like Qui-Gon would just light one up, be like, let's just feel the Force flow through us, Anakin. Who knows?
Sammy for those death sticks.
Yeah, let's go. You know what? Maybe we go to Dex's and we have ourselves a nice ribeye, and then we go smoke some death. Who knows? Let's see what happens. That's what I want in an open world Coruscant game, is to just be able to go to Dex's diner and just hang out and have a freaking burger. And then if I want to go steal a speeder, maybe I can do that. But I don't know, Dex. Like, I mean, I just want to go there. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I feel so bad for Obi-Wan, and it makes me think, like, I love that you brought it up, Nettie, because I'm like, could we even not see Satine, but maybe have a Satine reference in the Obi-Wan show of just like some regret? Would Obi-Wan, because I mean, even in the comics, he has some ups and downs. Like at the beginning of the comic, he's like, I have nothing, I can't do anything, like I'm stuck on this planet. And the next one, he's lighting his laser sword, he's like, I'm a Jedi. So he has a roller coaster of emotions on Tatooine. But is there going to be any moments where he's just like, man, shit, I should have left. Me and Satine could have got a speeder and hopped on out of here. Like we could be on Hoth, just like in a cave, just like hiding out, living our best life with, the Wampas or something. I don't know. I would love to see some regret and maybe, have Qui-Gon to sit there and say, nah, man, you're doing the best. Just like in the discussion from a certain point of view that we talked about the other week, just like, nah, you did the best you could, man. Like no regrets, man. The Force is going to work out. I've seen it. Like, things are cool. You're going to die here in a little bit, but like, it's going to be fine. Like, things are fine. It's just, I don't know. But like Jory said, it's the maker wrote it, and it's hard to question how things could be different. I don't know. Scotty, do you have something else?
I was going to say, like, I really hope in that Obi-Wan show that they show that, but they also like show that he had to do it. Like, he had to do it. He's going to convince himself of that. And if we're really going to get like this rematch that everybody's talking about, is like, I hope that it leads up to him convincing himself he had to do it. And then it turns out that this Vader character, like, he's got a feeling that it's just him. And then he has to leave Tatooine to go confront him again. Like, he just doesn't have a choice.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're going to play that in. A lot of people think it's impossible. I literally think nothing is impossible, man. They have written some of this stuff so flawlessly. Like it's gonna be cool.
Absolutely. I want the freaking Grand Inquisitor hunting him down.
Yeah.
Like, shit. He's within a stone's throw, Luke. I gotta get the hell out of here. Let's go to freaking Dantooine and check some shit out. Like, I don't know. But it's for such a big epic show, it's gotta be off world a little bit. But we'll see.
Dantooine's on the opposite end of the galaxy from Tatooine, though.
See, but maybe he needs to get it. Maybe he needs to go away. He's just gotta take a hyperspace lane, just get away for a bit. We're going on a trip. But he doesn't have a droid, so that's gonna suck. It's gonna be a really lonely trip. That's another thing. Like, I was blown away, guys, that Qui-Gon's just like, I pretty much just figured out how to present myself through the Force because Obi-Wan's lonely and I don't want it to be. I about wept. Like, Jesus, he has nothing. So thank God for Qui-Gon. I mean, Obi-Wan came and have a droid. Apparently he didn't remember having R4 either, which is, I don't know. Would you guys remember you had a droid, 40 some years ago? Would you remember that? Owning one?
Jedis don't have possession, so he technically didn't have a droid. True. It was just with him.
Great point. I don't remember owning one. That's a great point. Great point.
Barely knows his own name, so that's
true. That's true. It's like, Obi-Wan is like, not a fucking clue. I have no idea who that is.
Oh, me.
So we're talking about the what ifs right now.
Yeah.
What if Ahsoka believed Darth Maul when he first mentioned? Do you think that Ahsoka would have been able to convince Anakin at that time that he was traveling down the wrong path? That's something that's always sad at me too. So, like, let's rebuttal that, because I wanted to go back to the Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan thing for a second too, but I wanted to hit the Ahsoka thing too. What if when Maul, who we got to give a lot of respect to Maul, we've already done it on other podcasts, so if nobody that's listening right now has ever checked out any of the other casual councils, go back and check out our Maul discussions on that, throwing that in there.
That's right.
And when Maul mentioned that to her, she was torn because she still had to believe the good in Anakin. If she would have just understood to go fulfill that, I don't think she could have talked him out of it. I think there might have been an encounter, because I don't know if she would have been able to handle that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's everybody's feelings on that? If Ahsoka went to Anakin and said, hey, Darth Maul told me that you're in cahoots with Emperor Palpatine, and I want to know what's up with that, because I feel you slipping off and becoming more dark. I've seen it on the battlefield as well, heard about it as well. What's up?
If Mace Windu wasn't so spicy, she was literally about to tell him and Yoda everything, dude. And then someone called her a civilian, and she was like,
there it is.
Leave it to Mace.
You're on your own. Forget it.
It really feels like a timing thing. It really does. But I mean, I don't know, because Obi-Wan's all along kind of been telling him that, you're going down this path, and his eyes weren't glowing yellow at the time, but I don't know if Ahsoka would have had any impact on. I don't know if he would have really believed her, or he'd say, "What, you can't believe Maul? Like, he's just, and why would you trust Maul? That he's obviously just trying to turn you against us."
Is that when she brings it up? Would he go, why are you believing him? My master struck him down before. He's always had a vendetta against my master. So I think that's why that would become a confrontation. That would have been their first confrontation. And that it has no impact, but it makes that if they actually fought, she would have been either his first death, or whatever would have happened before Mace Windu, before he chopped that, because he would have got to that, I think, right? The timing? Is that right? She would have got to him before the Mace. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
She would have got to him before Mace.
No, because on the way back to Coruscant is when Order 66 happened, so she couldn't have got back in time to have stopped it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But she would have.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jory.
Okay, Jory.
So I've actually thought about this a lot.
Come on.
So with that, I mean, there's a couple different ways that, and this is kind of when we play the what if, but say, where you guys are talking, say Ahsoka, once she is speaking to Maul, and say it's just Ahsoka, kind of how it played out in the series. If Ahsoka was somehow able to get a message to the Jedi Order, instead of like continuing, everything that's going on with Maul, and she just gets a message into the temple, and calls like an emergency meeting, and then kind of gives a heads up, because it does happen, after her confrontation with Maul, like it's pretty quick. That Order 66 does happen, but say she's able to get, an emergency meeting, via hologram with as many masters as they can wrangle up at the time, it could have had some sort of an effect on how they prepared for it. And we're not going to say that Ahsoka failed in that way, because I don't think that's that wasn't her duty at that point, and nor did she have any reason to believe Maul. But say she gets that emergency meeting, and then and this is kind of where we are going into this possibly anyways with the Order 66, that could have put a couple chinks into that plan. You could have had a few of the more well-trained masters on their guard, as to things that could have possibly happened. But we can get into that in a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. After reading the Vader comics, I just feel like the only person that could have convinced Anakin was Padme, and it had to be much earlier on. And because she just kind of ignored any signs that she was getting. I feel like
I got
that's
something
his
about
only
that though, Michael.
Yeah.
When in 3, it started seeming like she was becoming more like a possession to him.
Yeah.
There's those things when he was turning dark. She didn't want to believe it either. And I know she sensed it more than anything, but I just wanted to weigh in on that. That I think that's just, yeah, it was started like becoming controlling. Like I see you dying. I'm gonna control that. I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, and she had fears of her own too, right? Of just like, there's so much at stake here. Like, obviously democracy, but like our relationship is a forbidden one. And if I do anything to jeopardize it, like what else do I have? Like this is something we need to keep close, and I'm not going to really try to do anything to rattle. They both were kind of doing that. So yeah, you're right. I think they were very controlling of each other in certain ways, but it was very selfish in what they were doing, which is crazy because she is portrayed to be this really selfless leader, right, of her people and everything that we learn about her and the Amidala books and Anakin too. They're on Tatooine, just like knowing nothing of greed, and then they end up having this relationship that it is just, I don't know. It is so. I don't know. Is it selfish? I don't know. Is it selfish to love someone and then the world be around you and saying that it can't happen? Yeah, but like,
I don't think he was controlling. I think it was just his fear of losing her. And that was his love. Like, that's what it came down to. I personally don't feel at all that he controlled her throughout this entire thing, but she's definitely stood by him. Maybe it was out of her own fear too, but I don't feel, and maybe there's novels that go in deeper to it, but I don't feel like just from like a casual side of this that there was any kind of like, ill intent with what Anakin was doing.
Well, the Clone Wars are good too to show their confrontations a little more as well. I feel like it's such a huge leap from episode 2 to 3 and oh my God, we're having a baby. And it's like, well, they've butted heads quite a few times, and I tend to forget that they've had their moments, and she's had moments where she's tried to be like, what the are you doing? Like, come on, like come back down to earth with us where we're all grounded here, and we just don't really see that in the movies. But sorry, Rob, what were you saying?
I was just gonna say real quick, and then we can go to Nettie. I didn't want to. I didn't like Scotty. I didn't want to say like he was controlling her, but you can see the turn in him. You can turn like his comments towards her. Maybe not so much controlling, but more like maybe demanding, or there's an absolute.
It got real when he was convinced she was gonna die.
Oh
that's
yeah,
What
took over, I guess, for lack of a better word, for her own good, kind of a thing. I feel that. I feel what you're saying there.
Yeah, there's definitely some possessiveness there. I mean,
yeah.
and a lot of that is the secrecy behind it all, and I get that, but he went a little nutty there at the end. I
just real quick want to go back to the what if too. What if Mace didn't want to just kill Palpatine right away? Like, what Anakin's whole thing was like, no, we have to judge this guy. Like, this is what you guys have been telling me for years. Like, we need to do this. So maybe, but
Palpatine too dangerous to be left alive.
Yeah, 100% agree.
I mean, had to chop his head off. He had to go. You know, he has this much power. Like, he could easily just, you know, he could easily turn everyone on the, and that's the thing. Like, it's a great segue into what Jory was his what if of like, what if Order 66 didn't have, like, what if it wasn't successful, I guess, and that it something happened, maybe the clones didn't turn, like, okay, so what's Palpatine's plan B then? Because I feel like he did have such control of the Republic at that time that Mace was right. He's too dangerous to be left alive, and that he easily could have turned the Republic on the Jedi probably without, you know, the clones. I don't know. I feel like he's pretty good creating a propaganda campaign. I think he could have done it. So let's Jory, what are your thoughts? Like, if it wasn't successful, where do we stand? Where does the Emperor stand? Is he caught, or is it just it didn't turn out like he planned and he's got a contingency or something? Obviously he does later on, but
yeah, I mean, I think that you kind of have to go back to where it could have varied. And I think that there's a lot of different things that kind of lined up perfectly to end where Order 66 is executed. But say, I think a perfect one, we're kind of just talking about it. Say the Jedi Council is kind of wise for once and decide to send Anakin with Ahsoka to Mandalore. Instead of having him go to protect the Chancellor, which they know, you know what I mean? They know that there's some conflict there in his interests, and they know that there's something kind of going wrong in that direction. Mace can't quite pinpoint it, but he understands that there's not like the connection between Palpatine and Anakin is not good. And he starts seeing that, once again in his shatter points later on, realizing, oh crap, that this is like really not good. But even before that, he kind of understood that, Palpatine is not to be trusted. And so say they decide to send him to Mandalore with Ahsoka, I think that changes everything. I think that the duel with Maul goes very quickly. Anakin destroys him. Even if he doesn't kill him, they end that quickly, and then Maul can still talk, tell Anakin what he told Ahsoka, kind of putting Anakin on guard a little bit more. Not even necessarily that he would believe Maul, but even just hearing that, from Maul, knowing that Anakin is in Palpatine's complete plan. He is the key to everything. Once that confrontation with Maul with Palpatine does happen, he could have said something to the other masters prior to. I think that if Anakin goes to Mandalore, obviously Order 66 happens into the future then. It doesn't happen, so much simultaneously. But then, at that point, you have so many different things, different players in different positions, but I don't think you have the element of surprise that Order 66 had. And then you have more masters, more even possibly knights that survive that whole situation. And if more people survive that situation, you have a more controlled Jedi Order. They're able to, even when, say everything kind of continues the way it does, and, say Palpatine goes to the Senate, and at that point, you might have Master Yoda alive. I mean, obviously Master Yoda was still alive, but then you have maybe Plo Koon doesn't get blown up. You maybe have, some of these other masters that make it out of Order 66, and you have more of an attack back at Palpatine versus he goes to speak at the Senate, and I think that one of the best things that could have happened as he speaks to the Senate is Yoda goes to the Senate, and confronts him in front of everyone. Because if Yoda confronts Palpatine at the Senate, he either takes him under arrest, or Palpatine brings out his red lightsaber, and then everyone in the galaxy sees that Palpatine is a Sith Lord, and that starts to really shift, the perception of everything. And, and I think that, that kind of, I know we're playing a million what ifs here, but, I just think that it could have really taken the story in a different way, and just kind of see what you guys think.
I want to first straight up, right up. When you said that, most of the time they just put them in jail. They put them in like some kind of like prison, some jail, or they ban them, or they control them in some way. So I think that no matter what would have probably happened, because that's what they did with Abeloth.
It happened.
Abort! Abort!
Abort! Abort!
And I've compared them both as well. That's would have been crazy. But you know what I was thinking too when we were talking about this Vader line, before I get back to that for a second and then pop out. What if during this Vader line, Apprentice comes up? Maybe not Star Killer, maybe not Galen Merrick, but during this Vader line, this was around that whole little area of the Force Unleashed. And that played a whole thing too, because when they went to confront Palpatine, Vader turned on Merrick. So, but back to the ultimate, what Jory just put us through is that epic go back and forth. I don't think he would have pulled his red lightsaber, because at that point he still wanted to make the Jedi look bad.
Yeah.
And if Yoda pulled his lightsaber before he pulled a red lightsaber in front of that whole Senate, that would kill the Jedi. But I think the Resistance would have been overall stronger, because they would have had stronger Jedi alive at that point, which I think even Vader in his current position and Palpatine in his position, if they would have did something like back from Knights of the Old Republic and what we're probably going to get with all the new stuff, that if they would have did like a full onslaught of Yoda and this guy and Plo Koon and blah, and they would have went after Vader and Palpatine, they probably would have won.
Yeah, Rob, you're exactly right. It's all about the perception of the Jedi, and it's cool to read the new novels now too and hear what people have to say about the Jedi. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of information on them, but like those that remember it were, they weren't maybe not necessarily brainwashed, but history was not kind to the Jedi, so people didn't really like them. But it's you're right. Like he probably wouldn't have whipped out his laser sword at that point. Would have done something to gain sympathy from the people. Think think how much power Palpatine had at this time. Like, he just goes in, he's like, oh, I was attacked. Like, no one witnessed this. There's no holograms of him getting attacked by the Jedi. He's just like, they left me scarred. And everyone's like, this is bullshit. Like, I get everyone's kind of torn up about the war and everything, but they just believed this man and said the Jedi are behind it all. Like, we can't let this happen. I need more power to try to end this. So yeah, I feel like he would have found a way to garner that opinion of the Jedi that needed to happen in order for everyone to turn. Nettie, what are your thoughts on this what if?
I think it's definitely a fascinating one, and kind of like all the other ones, I guess there's a million different ways you can look at it. I can see it kind of like you just touched on, and you mentioned before, Palpatine's like the master of propaganda and manipulation. Yeah. I could see him trying to spin it some way that, like, he issues Order 66, and then he's like, look at the Jedi, they attacked all these clones, these Republic troopers.
Yeah.
Something's going off with them. So then that might not end with him becoming Emperor still, but it would still probably find a way to shift blame onto those Jedi and still kind of make them the enemy. So obviously not what he wants. He wants them completely destroyed and him in power. But I think if you can create then another conflict going after the Jedi, like the Republic versus the Jedi, he might be able to seize that power anyway. So I think he'd find a way to play it no matter what, basically. But that's obviously a lot of what ifs.
The war also did not seem to be going that well. We're fighting in the beginning of episode 3 on the outskirts of like Coruscant itself. Like, the battle is now here at the capital. Like, it doesn't seem like it's going that well. I don't know a lot of specifics about the Battle of Coruscant or how bad it really was. Like, how close was the Republic to falling right then and there by the Separatists? Like, I feel like he could have simply said, you know what? We put these Jedi in charge of this war, and look where it's got us. You know what? I'm taking charge now. Like, I mean, he is the Chancellor. Yeah, he's calling a lot of the shots, but it's like, look where they've gotten us. Like, this was their intention, is to get us to this breaking point. I feel like he could have spun it in any way. He is the ultimate manipulator, and I'm sure he would have figured out a way. And the whole idea of like getting Anakin out of there. You know, Mace tries to do it in that moment, right? Like, you just, you know what, I'll trust you if you just go away for a bit and let us handle this. So if I don't know if they ever would have sent him to Mandalore there with Ahsoka to or just by himself to handle Maul, not just because of the conflict in him and you know, hey, could Maul like manipulate him? Like, I don't think that would have been it, but more so like, we've got this in here with the Chancellor, and what better way to kind of even garner more of that trust and bond between them to send our best Jedi in there to save him. What else can we learn? Because we know in episode 3 they're like, hey, we need, you know, we're gonna put you on the council, but you're not gonna be a master, Anakin. We need you to get some information for us. So I feel like that was very strategic in its own right. Yeah, he's one of the best Jedi, but also let's garner that relationship some more so we can learn more about it. And ultimately, that was the wrong move. They would have been better sending him away, but I think it was more strategic than just him. And Obi-Wan will definitely save the Chancellor. They're the best team we got. I don't know. Scotty, do you have some?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, when she's on Mandalore, when Ahsoka's on Mandalore confronting Maul, and she roasts him so bad. She's like, you're lucky Anakin's not here with the way you're fighting. I paused. I walked away. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, he is, though. He is. Like, he thought he had it figured out, but he really, I don't think, understood who Anakin really was, man. He was the man.
Yeah. It just, I'm glad that Anakin didn't show up though, because the Obi-Wan Maul end is just beautiful. It's just such a what a story of Maul.
I won't even mad if they redo that in the show. Like,
yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe Maul's hanging out around there, and we get a little more of him. But Brent, do you like to play in these what ifs? Like, is it too much to ask? What if, you know, Order 66 went a different way? I mean, would Palpatine eventually have figured out a method to make this happen?
Yeah, so you guys set me up with a bunch of what ifs here, so I may be talking for a little bit here. Let's go back over. So we'll start back with the first one. What if Obi-Wan left the Order to go visit Satine, or to go hang with Satine? I think that all really depends on when he leaves the Order to do so. If he does it while he's still, before they meet Anakin and before the events of Episode 1, then there's a good possibility that Qui-Gon and his new Padawan don't even get sent by the Chancellor to go to the negotiations at the start.
Yeah.
And thus, then Anakin never gets discovered by Qui-Gon. And, we can talk about the possibilities of how that plays out in the galactic universe for, a couple episodes. But if he leaves to go with Satine, before I'm trying to remember the exact timelines of all this stuff. I think it might have been during the Clone Wars, shortly before Maul kills Satine.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he's already has Anakin as his Padawan, Anakin still falls. He just falls a lot faster because at that point in time, all he has left is Palpatine. And then it's easy pickings for Palpatine to just, hey, come here, boy. Come sit. Let's have a chat. So I think, that plays a big part into just the timing of it. And then we get, the second one was, what did you guys say? What happens if Ahsoka is able to talk to the Jedi Council, after she talks with, has her little confrontation with Maul. I think the only person on the Jedi Council that would have listened to her and done anything was Yoda. And Yoda was already on Kashyyyk at that point in time. So her getting that message to him, and again, this is all like he's there, she finds this out, and then Order 66 happens. So the timing of anything to be preventative, it's, that's really, really slim. But she would have had to have gotten hold of Yoda, because he would have been the only one that would have listened to her and believed her. She could have talked to Mace all day long, and he'd have been like, yeah, whatever, I'm, civilian. And pulled that whole sort of crap. So there's that one. Let's see. I'll skip the Order 66 network. Let's go to, if they would have sent Anakin with Ahsoka to Mandalore, Maul's dead and he never tells anybody anything. Because Anakin's like, oh, you're Obi-Wan's nemesis. You're a Sith. You're the only Sith we know about. We don't know who your master is, but he's not even giving him a chance to talk. He's cutting him down instantaneously, and Maul is gone. So I think, that prevents nothing. It just delays the onset until he gets back to Coruscant. And then if Order 66 didn't work, the only thing I could think of that would prevent that from happening would have been, just the Jedi were strong enough in the Force to notice, all the Jedi to sense before it was too late, like Yoda did, to actually take down the clone troopers that were around them, and then, actually be able to flee like he did, and then come back and regroup. And that's the only way Order 66 at that point in time wouldn't work. And then at that point in time, nobody would really know who gave that order because nobody was around to see Palpatine do it. Mm-hmm. The only other person that would have known anything going on at that point in time, because that would assume then, did he give the order without Mace already being there, without Anakin chopping off Mace's hand, and then he gets out the window? So, there may or may not have been a few masters dead in the Senator, in Palpatine's office by that point in time, or, did he just like, oh, crap's going wrong, let's give the order? But he could always play that off. It's like, what are you talking about? I didn't talk to the Kaminoans. They probably did this. They're the ones that made the clones. So he can easily pass that buck and, ride it off until, he gets something else going and can, pull it off. Because, Palpatine, he's the master manipulator. He's going to make everything twist and turn, and you're not going to know what's going on right there. And then, there's so many possibilities. But I think, ultimately, with the way the Force and everything was aligning, this was going to happen. The Jedi were going to go down. It was inevitable. Palpatine saw it all happening. He's been in tune with the Force for so long, the dark side's cloud and everything. Yeah. It was basically inevitable from the time probably that Anakin was discovered on Tatooine. And, from the moment Qui-Gon laid eyes on him, and like as Filoni said, the duel of the fates, that was determining Anakin's fate right there. So if Anakin got discovered and Qui-Gon dies, Anakin's going down the dark path. There's nothing you can stop it.
Yeah, it does feel like that fork in the road there. And yes, everyone, we know, we talk about this as if it actually happened. We understand that this is just a fictional story, and that, it's fun to just kind of speculate, but it's also easy to have the perspective that we have. And I think Brent, you bring up a great point that, like, the dark side was clouding everything. Yoda says it himself. There's only few who know even how to do this or know our weaknesses. And so, what would this information have provided them? They'd be like, like we don't even know what we're dealing with. You're telling us it's Anakin. Well, that's hard to believe. I'm not feeling it from Anakin. It's somewhere else. Like, why would it be Anakin? They don't even know, with Darth Maul dead, they're like, was he the master or was he the apprentice? They have no idea who they're dealing with. So it's very easy to say, like, well, with this bit of information, it would have been so different. It's like they had no idea what the hell they were up against. It was just a genius plan on Palpatine's part to burn it down from within.
And
it's
I mean,
just
and by
crazy.
that point too, I mean, Anakin, he'd already beheaded Dooku, the only other known person that was a Sith. So he comes up to Maul. I mean, Maul's out. It's like there's no chance. There's no negotiation. There's no anything. It's just like, nope. Oh, hey, Sith, red lightsaber, you're down.
Exactly. The one thing so I mentioned a little bit ago about the Battle of Coruscant. Like things couldn't have been going great. Obviously, I don't know what to extent the Chancellor allowed himself to get captured or whatever that was. But the battle's going on and then the back door of the Capitol. Let's at what point does Dooku or Palpatine have to interject with the army and say, "Whoa, we can't occupy court. How am I going to explain? How am I going to become emperor of this if the separatists actually win this war?" Because yes, Palpatine and Dooku are kind of running this army, but think of all the other worlds that have joined the separatists. We look at Mandalore and all these sympathizers that we've seen in Clone Wars to the separatists. They're not necessarily under the direction of, well, they are of Dooku, but like not necessarily of that Sith manipulation. So like if they just see this army come to Coruscant and everything just stops, they'll be like, what the hell are you doing? Like why would we trust you? It's so crazy to be like how would we stop this train if it didn't go the way that it did? How would you explain, that how would Palpatine actually become the leader of this world if the separatists won the war? Like were they over their heads at this point? Yeah.
Real quick, here's your big what if. What if Quinlan Voss and Count Dooku would have defeated Palpatine?
Ooh. I mean, yeah, Brent.
I'm going to go back to Mike's real quick here. I think if the Separatists would have won the Battle of Coruscant, then Palpatine, he takes over as Emperor as Darth Sidious and not as Palpatine.
Okay.
Because at that point in time, he's there with Dooku. Dooku introduces his master, and he still reigns supreme. It's just he takes his other name. Because he can't take Darth Sidious in public because everyone knows him as Palpatine.
Yeah.
And then if he declares himself Darth, then, I mean, it's kind of weird that he had Darth Vader, sitting there as his right-hand man. But at the same time, a lot of people didn't really know about him unless you were in the upper ranks or you were at the wrong end of that lightsaber, and then you didn't tell the story. So, I mean, I think at that point in time, Palpatine didn't care. I think, and the reason that he forced that play on it was either to get Anakin to do something silly or, they're going to lose and he takes over anyway. So I think it was all in his grand plan.
Yeah, Jory.
Yeah, I think too with the whole, introducing Darth Vader to the galaxy, and him being at the head of the Empire, or kind of what everybody else sees as the head of the Empire, is that the only people that would really know that Darth is a negative thing would be the Jedi, and they would be the ones that would spread that throughout the galaxy. Where at that point, by the time he's already, he's introduced, there's really no Jedi left to spread that word. So I think that, like Brent was just saying, you can have Darth, at the top of it, but nobody really understands. I mean, they know he's an evil dude and they, he does a lot of bad things, but I don't think that people understand that, he's a part of the Sith and, he's a reigning, a bad guy, I guess.
Yeah. Like what does the Sith mean to the common like Republic folk? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what I think the Acolyte could do so well for us, is just kind of explain to us, like, what do common people think of this dark side? Like, are they even aware of it at this point? Has it been kind of, extinguished for so long that it's just not? I mean, the Jedi themselves we see in the Skywalker saga, like, or in the prequels at least, were just like, oh, this could absolutely not be happening. Like, it's just like, what did Yeah, what would Darth Sidious mean to these people? Just that he's the leader of the Separatists, I guess. Like, Yoda couldn't just go before the Senate and say he's a Sith Lord. They'd be like, "What are you talking about?" Like, so it was so that's what was so easy for Palpatine to manipulate and say, "Of course, these space wizards are the ones behind it all. They have all this power and they've been amassing it for so long. Of course they did this to the Republic. They're power hungry. There's no one else to compare the Jedi to at this point because the Sith are so far removed." It was so genius on his part, but just I think the Acolyte we could learn a little more about how underground all of this actually was. I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, I really think that the galaxy lucked out that he didn't get to rule as Darth Sidious, because if he did, then it would have been 10 times worse than the Empire. Because he would have been unrestrained whatsoever, because he would have abolished the Senate immediately, because they wouldn't have been around anymore, and it would have been iron fist from day one, and the galaxy would have been totally screwed. I mean, Alderaan would have stood no chance. I mean, they wouldn't even have to wait for the Death Star. They would have been strip mined and gone.
Yeah.
Dude, he just went around zapping everybody, dude. He would have just had weekly zappings. Bzz.
Well, he could have destroyed, now we know with the power that we saw in The Rise of Skywalker, he probably could have just destroyed the entire Senate in one little force lightning, and they're all gone. But yeah, he chose
he needed the dyad for that, but that's a different discussion.
That's true. Great point. He needed the little extra boost there. But so, I mean, he really did need that governance, right? We tend to forget because we don't see the Senate in episode 4 for decades. It's still been going on. Yeah, it's manipulated. Yeah, there's some bad folks in there. Yeah, you have these governors, but there's still governance, and he needed that to maintain rule until there at the very end where he dissolves it all. So yeah, how would it have been different if he reveals himself as the one and only Sith Lord that's ruling the galaxy? How would the galaxy have reacted? I mean, obviously they learned later on through tales about Palpatine and what he was, I'm sure, but I just feel like the galaxy doesn't understand really what a Sith is, and it's been a good thing that the Jedi have kind of kept this all under wraps, because you don't even want anybody thinking about it. But I'm excited for the Acolyte. I think we could learn quite a bit about, what folks that do kind of study this dark side, what they're doing during this High Republic time, because it's the same time period, right, as the High Republic. So there's obviously, if you're reading any of the Light of the Jedi, there's a lot of Jedi out there, and they're doing cool things. So the Sith aren't even mentioned, at least as far as I've gotten. So it's exciting stuff. I don't know, guys. These what ifs are just, it's crazy.
No spoilers of the Light of the Jedi yet.
No spoilers, absolutely not. I'm only 100
I'm a
pages
few weeks
in.
out on my book rental from the library.
Hey, we're not even going to talk about it for several weeks here on the podcast, because I'm only probably a third of the way through right now. But
I wanted to say real quick, Acolyte. I just want to think about those stupid little things walking around trying to construct another thing. What if the Acolyte was freaking Galen Merrick? What if that was him?
Wait, who's Galen Merrick again?
I just want the dang Star Killer in the universe. I want to know that story.
I wouldn't be surprised if we, I feel like
now, bro.
That's true. I feel like the story of Palpatine and kind of his other henchmen is probably something that they'll play around with for the next 20 years. I'm sure at some point we're gonna get a story of some other dude he was, using for some other purpose for the contingency or something. Well, I'm sure we'll learn something like that. But yeah, he technically is a legend.
That'll be his name, Malin Garrick.
They just switch it around. I mean, yeah, Palpatine's got a lot of other people out there doing stuff for him, so it wouldn't surprise me if we see that. And we know that Vader isn't the only one that he's kind of manipulating for whatever reason. There's others out there. But a lot of that is legends. A lot of that stuff is legends. But what else, guys?
Dude, can I just tangent off about the Acolyte?
Yeah, absolutely.
Vader issue 22, Charles Soule. You guys need to find it somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you where. But also, he is writing the very first novel of the High Republic. This is not coincidence. The Acolyte takes place immediately following the High Republic era.
Mhm.
I am not saying there are Jedi in this issue right here that could be High Republic Jedi. But what I'm saying is this mask shows up in that comic out of nowhere. I think it's in a Lando comic as well. It's in Coruscant, in the Jedi archive. Palpatine gives it to him. We see flashbacks of moments past and people that have to live in the time of moment experiencing this dark side dude literally just creating art out of dead bodies and things. Like that's his thing. And man,
that's a relic. That's a relic too.
Hey Scotty, can you hold that helmet up again real quick?
It's got to be connected. I'm
Scotty,
convinced.
Can you put that helmet back up on screen there for a second?
Bro.
It's a little sideways. I was just looking at the crack on the helmet, and it's about 90 degrees offset from the scar on Snoke's head. I was just curious.
Loman is Snoke.
It's brutal.
It wasn't a clone.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me. Scotty, I think you're onto something. I think with the just with the character reveals that Star Wars has done online on all their socials, they're like kind of sharing like, who are these Jedi and their names and their background. And one they just revealed, it seemed very telling. They're like, she tends to like choose her own path and she doesn't really kind of follow the Jedi way. It's like, okay, it feels like she may turn or something then. So
it's like an RPG now. It's like this character and this character. Pick them.
There are the Jedi that find the helmet in this. There's one of them that's like blonde hair, long blonde hair, and the dude that is front and center of all the Jedi standing together. His eyes, man, they are circled red. He's a Jedi, but he looks just like him. If he's not him, it's him as like a Padawan. And now we're later timeline, and he shows up in here, and he's older. But like the helmet possesses the guy in this. Like they leave it open ended, and it just shows the dude's eyes, the helmet's eyes, like the dark side hungers, etc., etc., and it's open ended.
Yeah, I think that's a slam dunk. I think it's we know that Jedi have turned to the dark side. Obviously, there have been fallen Jedi. Some of them became Inquisitors when things kind of crumbled around them. So we know some of them dabble in it. It wouldn't surprise me if we see that there's this kind of underground going on right under the Jedi's noses, and maybe that's kind of a foreshadowing for what's to come. We'll see. I don't know.
Last thing. The Jedi are at such a high. The High Republic, they are so high. The balance is going to come crashing down, bro. Like, you think Palpatine's bad? Like, I know Rob's freaking out, but Plagueis, bro. Like, Plagueis.
It could happen.
Come on.
They need Qui-Gon to just come in there. Just guys, let's just roll one up. Let's everyone chill out. Everyone just chill out. Grow your hair out. Let's just mellow out. Hit this real quick. Cool. I know y'all think you're great. You're in your gold robes and all this cool stuff. And it's just, it's crazy. Like even you just look at the cover photo of the Light of the Jedi. Like they're in these just ceremonial golden robes. And it's just like, it's such a difference from what we see in the Star Wars saga as we know it. So something's happens that they're just like, boy, we were some arrogant sons of bitches.
It's like Hooterville. It's like Hooterville. Like everybody's walking around with little daisies in their dang hands, and they're like, "Oh, we don't need lightsabers. We have dirt." And they're rolling around. I'm like, "What are you doing? You better watch your back, because there's gonna be a Sith up your butt in a minute."
Yeah, it's cool. I'm excited. I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing. I can't wait for you guys to get into the High Republic because
why don't you guys
what's that?
Read it.
That's right. It's a solid one. Everyone seems pretty chill in it, so they don't seem like real d-bags. I'm like, where did things go wrong here? I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Have you guys read some of like the first thirds of it? Like
I have, but these guys haven't, not yet.
Oh,
we'll get to it.
That I've met, like the Loden Greatstorm, he's amazing.
Some great names, some cheesy names. We still got that going on in Star Wars, but well, in the next few weeks, we'll have a discussion on it and give these guys some time to get a copy of it and get that thing read. But, guys, any other thoughts on the what ifs? Any other Star Wars things that have been eating at you the past few weeks?
The new Vader comic.
It's been good.
He's going to Exegol?
Yeah, that's what they're teasing this week's drop. He actually gets to Exegol, and I don't know if you guys have seen it. If you're not reading the comics, you can sometimes get a great deal from just looking at the covers of them. And then sometimes Star Wars themselves releases like a third of the comic on their website, so you can kind of deduce what's going on. And in this one, they claim he makes it to Exegol and kind of uncovers Palpatine's plans. And then you kind of, what we've seen is there's just this kind of wall of dark side users with a bunch of red laser swords, and Vader sitting there standing before them. So it seems like he's uncovered this Sith Empire, and maybe this is too much. I went too far. It's time to try to take this guy down. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
The next panel is just Ochi, and he's just like walking back to the ship.
He's like, I'm getting the hell out of here. Last time I was here, there weren't all these laser swords. I don't have the Force. I'm getting the hell out of here. But we know he does it because he's doing some bidding for. Well, no, he already did some bidding and killed Rey's parents before. So yeah, maybe he's like, I'm out. Too much. He's like, you know what, Vader? You and I will get out of here.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I'm looking forward to it though. The last issue not great, but this upcoming one I'm excited. We'll see. We'll have some more to discuss. And what does Exegol look like right now? Like, is it all just a lightning storm all the time, or are they building these Star Destroyers underground? Like, what's going on? Are these Sith folks actual people, or are they just mounds of dirt? Because that's what they look like in that stadium there on Exegol.
Are they mining Palpatine for his electric to use as power to build all that shit?
That sounds like some Lord of the Rings shit. I saw Homley stealing life out of orcs the other day for hours. So that sounds like some Lord of the Rings shit right there. Just maybe. I don't know.
The Palpatine clone is just like every 10 minutes just zapping this thing.
Gosh, yeah.
He wakes up, he just zaps, and he falls back asleep. And then they they go poke him again real quick, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta do it again." Okay, there you go, and falls back out.
Yeah, it'll be. Who knows? Maybe he'll see. Maybe he'll even see a Palpatine clone there in some Bacta or whatever. That'd be gross.
Who are on all those ships anyway? How'd they have that many people to go on that many ships?
That's what I'm saying.
You need to read the Rise of Skywalker novelization.
Yes,
it explains it all.
Bunch of Sith sympathizers out there just building shit.
Do they really explain it as like there were just that many people willing to support, or?
Yeah, so I don't want to get too far ahead of the book club for next month or whatever, but yeah, they basically say that it's all First Order officers. All the Red Troopers on those Star Destroyers were the cream of the crop from the First Order, and they were hand selected and sent to Exegol. Yep. And they've been on Exegol and not seen anything else of the entire galaxy for 10 to 20 years.
Wow.
Hence why Finn wasn't picked. They're just like, sorry, dude, you were mopping and you're not going to Exegol. Did Finn know about it? Who knew? Is it just like the elite that knew that they're going there? Like, it had to be.
Yeah, there was General Pride and the people that were there.
Was that what turned Finn in the first place? Maybe that was like Finn, other than like watching people get slaughtered. Maybe it had to have started before then.
Just a bunch of 50 to 60-year-old Bruce Willises. They had to be how old? Like, they were out there.
Yippee-ki saber, mother.
True. Jory, what's up?
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, I think that. I mean, kind of with what Brent was just saying, it's cream of the crop. But they also did leave, obviously, good ones behind. Like kind of going back into Phasma and Cardinal and things like that. You had other ones that were left behind. Obviously, that were really good. I think when we go back through some of our stories too, we see disappearances, you can kind of speculate as well as, did they actually go to the First Order, things like that, which is kind of cool to go back after, especially after we do our book club and kind of see, some of these major bad guys that we don't really know if they died off or not, and then, to see if they went to the Final Order.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that book club. I haven't finished the novelization yet, but I'm getting close. I've really enjoyed a lot of the little extras that they put in there, especially the discussions with Leia and Rey, and then Leia reminiscing about her and Luke, and it's just some good stuff in there. It's just too bad we didn't have the opportunity to be able to kind of flesh some of that stuff out, because there's some really, really good stuff in there that I've been enjoying. I think one night who was speaking? Palpatine was speaking, and I think it's Mark Thompson reading it, and it was really epic, and Nettie sent me a text, and my iPhone read it. It was like, and Palpatine said, and then it read Nettie's text message. It was hysterical, but really enjoying that audio listen of the book.
That was when I texted you about escargot, wasn't it, too?
It was something like that. And Palpatine says, "Hey, you guys doing that escargot bit ever?" Palpatine said that. He sounds a lot different right now. But yeah, it was a good time. But yeah, so we've got the book club coming up here in a couple weeks. So looking forward to that with these guys. So but yeah, guys, if you guys don't have anything else, we'll wrap it up here. About an hour and a half council here with our fellas. Really, there's always more, and it has to be edited out sometime. Sometimes Michael has to go through with a fine, delicate knife and edit some of the podcasts out, because it goes about 3 hours long. But I hope you guys enjoy these. A lot of fun discussing video games with these guys, and just some what ifs. It's just, I think all of us are just sitting at our day jobs and just thinking about this shit just every day, all day, thinking, and then we post it in the group, and everyone's like, yeah, that's crazy. Like, what if? And sometimes we have to have those conversations, and we're always going to have them. And it's crazy because, the Revenge of the Sith came out 15 years ago, and it's just like, how are we still talking about this? Well, we are still talking about it, and we're going to continue to talk about it. And if you'll continue to listen, we'll continue to talk about this stuff. So I want to thank Brent, Rob, Scotty, Jory, and Nenny for joining us this month. Guys, this is our 13th installment. I believe it's our 13th installment of Casual Council. So really enjoyed talking with these guys. I couldn't get Luke to podcast, a couple times in the week. I got to salvage that friendship. Cannot be having him podcast too much when he has a family that he needs to be raising. And Holly is currently doing some projects of her own. So just me flying solo tonight, but we will have these guys back here on the podcast soon. And if you enjoyed what you're listening to and you're joining these guys, come check out our Facebook group. A lot of fun happening in there. A lot of fun conversations. We got a Discord too. I couldn't tell you how to get there. We'll have to just hop in the Facebook group, and Nettie will tell you how to get to the Discord server. But check us out there. Check us out on all social media. Check out the long form podcast on YouTube if you enjoy watching long form video. If that's your format, check us out there. Like and subscribe. Smash that like button if you're watching there on YouTube, as all the YouTubers and the kids like to say. But I appreciate you guys listening. I thank you kindly. Take care of yourselves out there. Take care of your friends and family, and may the Force be with you always.